Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Indigo Sol the Channeler coming back with another episode. So welcome and thank you guys for tuning in today. Before we dive in, y'all go ahead and do me a big fave and make sure to hit the like button to boost up that algorithm and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any other content. Just to get y'all a little acquainted, in case you don't know, I am a natural-born psychic medium with the gifts that have been bestowed upon me from my beloved divine family, which entail clairvoyance, which is to receive visions or images, clairaudience, to receive audible messages, clairsentience, the sense of feeling, and claircognizance, the sense of knowing. I'm very in tune with the spiritual world and communicate frequently with wonderful spirits, including some prominent figures such as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Thich Nhat Hanh, John F. Kennedy Jr., and his lovely wife, Mrs. Jackie Kennedy. I've even connected with a few that have had their deaths make headline news, including Kanika Jenkins, Kendrick Johnson, and the most recent Shanquilla Robinson. Majority of the ones I've channeled don't want their information exposed due to our convivial relationships and secrecy. The confessionals do remain in what I call my secret vault, which no one will ever have access to. However, there are a few that definitely want to share their stories and want the world to know of what really happened before their untimely deaths. In this segment, I'm going to talk about a beautiful young lady by the name of Miya Marcano, who went as Mimi, doted by her loved ones and friends. She was an ambitious college girl that wanted to make her family proud and live her best life. Some of her pastimes was spending time with family and participating in the Caribbean holiday, Carnival. Unfortunately, her life tragically ended the night of September 24th, 2021. She anticipated to meet up with family in Fort Lauderdale, but never showed up at the airport. With frantic family members trying to seek Mia's whereabouts, her mother contacted police to issue out a missing person case. Her disappearance made national headlines on TV and social media. On October 4th, 2021, her body was discovered in a wooded area nearly skeletonized. Months later, her family created a foundation titled the Miya Marcano Foundation, which has a mission to support, educate, and provide resources to families of missing persons while advocating for the protection of students and our most vulnerable population. Another great monumental event was when Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida issued Mia's Law as Senate Bill 898 to strengthen residential tenant safety measures, including requiring the background checks for prospective employees, maintaining a log for each dwelling unit's keys, and increasing notification requirements for maintenance and repairs from 12 to 24 hours. As amazing as this news has turned out, it doesn't negate the fact that Mia's life was taken away by an obsessive psychopath, which so happened to be her co-worker, a maintenance worker at the apartment complex. Let's get into what really happened the night of September 24th, 2021. I've personally been connected to Mimi since October 2021, and she frequently appears to me. She has such a bubbly and sweet personality. The reason for me doing this episode is primarily to get more details out since the forensics team could not determine the cause of death according to her autopsy. Her family, especially her father, wanted to know what really happened since there are so many unanswered questions. So on January 3rd, 2023, I managed to connect with Miya, and she adamantly wanted me to share her story. So here we go.
Listener's discretion is advised.
Finally, I get to speak my truth after over a year. I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Miya Marcano. I go by Mimi by my family and friends. I was born April 26, 2002, which makes me a Taurus. Pembroke Pines represent. My mom is Yema Scarpiel, a strong Caribbean woman from the Virgin Islands. My dad, Marlon, aka DJ Eternal Vibes, he's Dominican descent. I have a big brother, Marlon Jr. I miss my cousins. I miss all of my family so much. We were very close-knit. I went to Valencia College, tried to make a career of physiotherapy. I thought that was a nice career choice. I chose that school since it was a bit cheaper than going to the school I originally wanted to go to, the University of Central Florida. I wanted to experience a college campus life. But anyway, I love to participate in carnival. That's a big deal in Caribbean culture. I love looking cute and dressing up in outrageous outfits. I love my heritage. I embraced both sides. I was fluent in Spanish too. I was such a daddy's girl though. I still am. I love my dad with every part of me. I had a great relationship with my mom too. It was really different with my dad because I was his little princess. I was close with my brother too. He was protective. I was really young when my parents split up. I was very sad and kind of acted out. But I was just young and confused. But things happened for a reason. My dad, he definitely spoiled the hell out of me and was also very protective. He didn't play about his kids, especially me. He's just so cool and a chill dad. When I got together with family, it was nothing but fun and love. Always a good time. Rarely had any arguments. I'm glad God placed me in the family I was meant to be a part of. Anyway, I'm kind of a girly girl. Love to get pampered, like getting my nails and hair done. I was a very confident and ambitious girl. I loved making friends and going to parties. The nightlife where I'm from is crazy, like too hype. I made sure I stayed academically good and was on top of things. I wanted to make my family proud, especially my dad. Now, I'm going to talk about the bad stuff. This guy, I really don't want to talk about him, but I've got to get this off my chest. And for the record, you are the only psychic medium I trust with telling this information. Everyone needs to know what really happened that night. I plan to spend some time with family near Miami. Before I went to work, I had everything packed and ready to go. I was excited to spend time with my loved ones. Before I get into the story, I wanted to give a little backstory on this bitch. That's what he truly is, Armando. I will admit, I thought he was cute and very friendly at first. We worked together, so it was a little flirting, but I guess you can say I kind of blew him off. He was really doing the most and made me feel uncomfortable, but I was trying to keep it cordial since we were coworkers. We were friends at the beginning. I was an office staff member and he was a maintenance worker. He was trying to be overly affectionate and being extra thirsty. Like, oh my God. It got weird after a while and started to tell some of my family. They give suggestions, but I didn't really take things too serious. I never thought he would do the things that he did, Armando. I was being a little naive, I guess. His persistence carried on for months, and then I just needed a break by taking this vacation to Miami. My family knew the details of what he was doing, text included. Like, if you open the dictionary next to the word thirsty, his photo should be there. But anyway, so later on that night that I planned to leave, he was kind of acting strange and said he had to do some major work in someone's apartment. He didn't explain in detail. I was kind of nonchalant. All I kept thinking about was boarding a plane to have fun and get away from his weird ass. After I left work, I went to my apartment and noticed something was a bit off, a feeling I had. I went to take my shower and get ready to go. After I had on my robe and go to my room, I found him hiding in my room. I was like, what the are you doing in here? I was cursing in Spanish and he had this dead look in his eyes. His roommate was there too. I was so scared. The roommate, Kenny, came from behind me to cover my mouth. Armando tied me up and put duct tape on my mouth. I couldn't fight back because his roommate was holding me hostage. They both gang me. I tried to scream and was crying. I was praying so hard for them to stop. After they beat on me until I went unconscious, they took me to a wooded area. They made sure no one was around. Armando shot me in the head, the fatal blow. After days of having my body decompose in the Florida heat, no forensics could figure out what happened to me to do a full examination. Then his stupid ass goes into some random garage and himself because he didn't want to get caught by police, even though he almost did.
But no one knows Tati.
You keep mentioning Tati, and no one knows Tati.
You get a call,
the
all of a
roommates
sudden,
don't even know Tati.
You've been sleeping since 10
You keep
o'clock,
saying
and all of a
Tati is
sudden
a
you're showing
friend.
up here at 4 o'clock in the morning looking for me.
Because me and Tati were conversating about it, so I finally, it came
Okay,
up.
but
Should
Tati
I go and
is
see
someone-
if I see anything?
No one knows Tati. That's my whole thing. Not
Tati
even the
is
roommate
an
knows
employee
Tati.
here. You
She's
can-
an employee, but you keep saying Tati is a friend and that you've all hung out together. No one here knows Tati. All her
Well,
other
not
friends
all
showed up. Her
these
closest
people.
friends that live in the complex were all here with us early on. No one knows Tati. Only you. Whoever Tati is, and Tati's on the phone, she shouldn't even be on the phone right now. As of right now, you have
work
sent
tomorrow? You work
obsessive
tomorrow,
texts to
Tati?
Miya. We have all seen the text. You talked about giving her your life savings. You cash out her money, and you claim that you weren't in touch.
Who told her gave
It's
her
on
life
text.
savings? I never
As a
said
matter of
that.
fact, we're going to get a police report to pull your phone records if that's the case.
What you have to do?
There's evidence of obsession, of something. You're fascinated with
It's
me.
not only from my side, so don't try to make this
No one,
like I'm a
no one's
stalker.
saying that. It takes
She's
two.
not here to defend
There's-
herself right now, so
obviously
we gotta
she's
talk to
missing.
you.
So we're talking to
And
you,
I
who've been going
completely
back and
respect
forth
that. I
on
understand
text.
that. That is your
cool.
family.
Right.
But until we figure out what's going on, just don't beat me up.
Nobody
one's
ain't beating
beating
you
If
you
up.
I'm
up.
guilty,
But
why
you
would I
put
come
yourself in the middle right here. You brought yourself over here.
Because we're concerned.
You're concerned. Why weren't you concerned hours ago?
I just found out.
All right, cool, no problem.
So
In
how
the
did, Ta-
first
so
few
how did
hours,
Tati find out?
We didn't think it was serious.
Unfortunately, the police were stupid too for not taking him in for interrogation. Once some of my family members found him with my blanket, they knew he murdered me. Armando did not act alone in my death. His roommate Kenny tagged along. And then we have some final messages for some family members here. So the first letter I have is for her father, who is referred to as DJ Eternal Vibes. Dear Dad, I thank you and wholeheartedly love you till the end of time. Keep my legacy going with the foundation. I know you miss me so much, and I wish I could take away your pain that you deal with every single day. But I'm here always. I miss our hugs and daily FaceTime chats. You were one of my best friends, my inspiration. I wanted to make you and mommy proud. I know you had big dreams for me. I know you have guilt, but it's not your fault. You've done all you could as my father. I'm so thankful for you. My love for you will never end. Until we meet again in heaven. Love always, your princess, Mimi. Te quiero mucho, papi. And then we have Marlon Jr. To my big bro, you know how I feel about you. You have been one of my big protectors and a best friend to me. You were the best brother ever. I know you're hurting too, but don't worry. I'm looking over you as one of your guardian angels. I love you like no other. I miss our play fights and how we used to have so much fun and how I'd get on your nerves. I miss you like crazy. I miss cooking for you and just hanging out. You've brought so much joy to my life. You helped the legacy going too. Be strong. I love you, Munchie. And then we have the letter for the mother, Miya Marcano. To my beautiful Caribbean queen, one of my inspirations, my twin. People call her Suline. I love you so much. You are such a strong woman, and I commend you for being just that. I know you're hurting too. I hear your cries at night. I wish I was still there with you to embrace you. Your baby girl is still around, watching over you too. You've taught me so much in my 19 years. I will always cherish our relationship. There was never a dull moment. I miss you a lot. I guess when God calls his angels home, we've got to go. I didn't want to leave, but I guess it was my time. I hope you cherish all the great moments we've had together. You've been a great mother. You be strong for me too. Keep the legacy going for me, mommy. I hope to see you in heaven. I love you, mama. And last but not least, to the rest of the family, I wish I could send individual messages to everyone else, but just know I love and miss you all tremendously. I am truly amazed at how much you all love me. Thank you all for starting the foundation and making a difference. Let's all make a change for the communities and the world. I am so glad I was able to be a part of this wonderful family. You guys are the best. Be brave, be strong, be loving to one another. I want to see y'all in heaven too, so we can turn up. Love you guys. Love always, Mimi. Alright, you guys, so I'm going to share my final thoughts regarding the whole situation involving the Miya Marcano case. So first and foremost, prayers and thoughts go directly to the families affected by Miya Marcano. I know that she was extremely loved and adored by her family, friends, and the community. I know that this case in particular was, it went viral all over social media and the national news, and it was very tragic and devastating to know of, what really happened. However, with this information that I have is no way fabricated. I have no reason to make up any of this information based on my natural abilities, as I explained earlier in this episode. At any rate, I pray that the creator of all, the ancestors and angels, can really provide that healing and the strength that they truly deserve. I know she was very, very close-knit with her father and her mother and her brother, and I know that they are obviously still grieving. I feel like they are the most affected. So I pray that, they will really get through this. I know it's going to take some time. It's never easy to grieve over someone you truly love. I just pray that, things will get better over time. I know that the pain is still going to be there, and there's going to be those unanswered questions, but hopefully with this episode can provide some clarity at least, because like I said, I've used my natural abilities to piece these things together. I just hope that things can really come to light with all of this. Also, with my connection to Mimi, I know that I've connected with her shortly after her passing. I know I was really drawn to her. I mean, obviously her death made headline news everywhere and went viral on social media, on Twitter and all of that stuff. I took it upon myself to help her transition into the afterlife, into the light, by burning ancestor money. And I've continued to do this every month. And I feel that now she's very happy and she is living a successful life on the other side. I know that she still misses her family and her friends, but just know that she's in a much happier place. And she connected with me and, wanted to make sure I get these messages out. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of procrastinating a lot to get all of this information out. And I know it was a very emotional process, especially to know the full details of what transpired that night, September 24th in 2021. I personally don't like to hear about stories in regards to sexual abuse or, things of that nature. But to hear the nature of what really transpired just really got me emotional. Even looking through some of her photos that was placed on the website of the Miya Marcano Foundation, I get really emotional. So I got to a point where I was like, yo, I don't think I can do this. This is really, really emotional right now. So, but also in relation to the ancestor money, I've received this directly from this wonderful spiritual movement called Galighticus. That's Galighticus, Galighticus. So they've been around for over 10 years. It was created by Ankh El, Sri Master Gano Grills, and Liz Marathi. They have Racina, Benedict, and all of the chain of command. They have put this wonderful spiritual movement together to help people heal and live a better life, better quality life. I've connected with Galighticus late 2019, so it has helped me tremendously throughout my spiritual journey, and it's helped me grow and continues to help me along the way. So I am extremely grateful to have discovered this. And actually during that year, 2019, I was really in search of my own spiritual advisor. I think I was pretty much bouncing around to really seek who my teacher was. And then lo and behold, he appeared. I'll later talk about that in a later segment, but Ankh El Sri Master Gano Grills, he's a world-class spiritual advisor. He is highly prominent in Hollywood. He was a former graffiti artist of the Wu-Tang Clan, so he's very much connected with them. Those are his team, his family, So he's definitely well-loved and well known in Hollywood. Some people may not know him because he's kind of behind the scenes. He was an actor also, but he later decided to become a spiritual advisor based on his own personal spiritual path. So shout out to the Galighticus family. I am so thankful for all of them and for all that they do. Based on also some tarot insight, I am considered a novice with tarot since it is very complex and it takes a lot of dedication to study. I've been reading tarot since 2018, so I feel like I've been keeping this particular same deck since 2018. It's still in good condition, surprisingly. But I tend to go to tarot a lot of times if I feel like I need to gain some clarity on a particular situation, and it has helped me a lot. I would like to say like 3 cards kind of stood out in relation to the Miya Marcano situation. So upon receiving the confessional from the spirit of Miya Marcano, a couple of things kind of stood out that raised some concerns. So the first thing was, I was kind of skeptical about when she mentioned that she was gang raped by both Armando Cabellero, which was the maintenance worker, and his roommate / best friend, Kenny Rodriguez Torres. She was later in the head by Armando Cabellero, according to the message that I've received directly from the spirit of Miya Marcano, and later it was confirmed by Armando, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. So the first card that I pulled was the Empress card, which represents Mimi in this case. The Empress card kind of represents like a beautiful young lady that, that's kind of like the baddie, like had the appearance together. As she described earlier on, she likes to get her hair and nails done and all that stuff, so that kind of describes who she is. And then there was the 6 of Cups that pulled out of the deck. So if you look closely at the photo, it has this image of a young boy and a young girl. So the young boy is like giving flowers to the young girl, who appears to be shorter than the young boy, trying to give affection, that kind of thing. So that kind of sets the tone of what really transpired between the interaction of Miya Marcano and Armando Caballero. He appeared to be overly affectionate, like she said, he was doing the most. He was just basically trying to buy her affection and try to, get her to date him, and she declined his advances. She wasn't feeling it. Earlier on, she admitted, it was like a flirty thing, but she didn't really take it any further than that. And she did have a crush on him at the beginning, but then things got weird and she was like, okay, yeah, I'm not feeling the vibes with this dude, basically. So obviously Armando didn't take a liking to that. He became very obsessive, and he was even a point where he sent her an inappropriate text message that was very sexual, and she got uncomfortable by it. He even sent her, allegedly, was it $700? It was like, I think it was like over $500 via Cash App, and she sent it back, and he kept trying to, send it to her, but she declined. I mean, she definitely did the right thing, because I'm like, that's a lot of money. Like, why are you giving me all this money? And I guess allegedly she was being sent this money because she was beautiful, And I noticed, some people do that, send girls or whatever lots of money because of their aesthetic or whatever the case may be. But in this particular case, Miya was not feeling Armando at all, and his ego was hurt. I feel like he felt played. I think that was the message that was really coming through. He felt played, and he was like really trying to, woo her, and she was just not into him in that kind of way. I think she, obviously was turned off. So unfortunately, he took matters into his own hands and set up this plan with his roommate / best friend. So yeah, this is another thing. So I was like looking through the police report. It was like 135 page document. I literally looked through that whole document, and some of the things kind of stood out. So the Armando guy, the maintenance worker, he made a fake maintenance call from a Google Voice number. The police later tracked it down that Armando did in fact create a Google account to link to this Google Voice number to make a fake maintenance call. And that's, when that whole plan started, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go do like this little job in this apartment, woo woo woo, I'll be right back, or whatever, however that was translated. So the maintenance call, whatever, was led to her or Mimi's apartment, surprisingly. So while he was, doing whatever he had to do in her apartment, unauthorizing the use of the key log and some other stuff, just basically having unauthorized access to her apartment. He took advantage of her and had his friend tag along. So that was a thing that stood out in my mediumship notes. The spirit of Miya Marcano has adamantly said that Kenny has definitely tagged along. He was definitely a part of it. And it was so crazy because the police or the detective, they have interrogated that young man not once but 3 times. The third time, when it was like, yo, we need to take your phone and like really dig through. They were trying to get some information through like the T-Mobile service and stuff like that. So come to find out, so a lot of the messages were untraceable. Like he basically deleted a lot of evidence, and the detectives concluded that the roommate / best friend basically covered up for Armando, making up all these lies. Because at first, when they first questioned him, he was saying like, oh, we were chilling in the apartment, we were watching horror movies. And, the second time, he kind of, he slightly changed the story. And then he was like, oh, well, I don't remember what time I went to sleep and what time he left, that kind of thing. I'm not going to read the whole report, but it says something along those lines, like, he doesn't remember the time of, the time of the events, but he was adamant that Armando was with him that night, which was on a Friday, September 24th. So the detectives and all that, they basically concluded that, he lied, and, there was communication throughout that evening to lead up to Mia's disappearance. So it was so crazy when I read, like, when they did the final interrogation, when they couldn't trace any of the text messages. I think they were able to trace some of the call logs, but like the text message that they needed to get, they were untraceable. That raises obviously red flags right there. Like, obviously you had something to do with it. And on top of that, this person claimed that they didn't know anything about Miya. You were his best friend. Y'all lived together. Y'all were best friends. How could you not know? Dude's gonna talk like, oh yeah, this is this one bad girl that I work with. I'm trying to get at her. Woo woo woo. Whatever the conversations were about. They had some conversations, obviously. This guy was definitely aware of who Mimi was. Meaning the roommate guy. So pretty much the dude was covering up for his friend, And was it going to be a snitch? And I feel that this case needs to be reopened. I think this is an actual ongoing case, because I think the family was actually suing the Arden Villa apartments. I feel like they really need to dig deep into that roommate, because I am 100% factual based on my mediumship notes and I feel like the confirmation from both the spirits of Miya and Armando, that has been confirmed that Kenny has definitely been involved in this situation. He has helped out Armando set up that girl, and they, like I said earlier on, they her, but Armando, her in the head, and then, they took care of the evidence, basically. So it was all a setup, all because of a person having their ego hurt because they felt like they couldn't get anybody else, and it was just sad. Also, when I did the tarot readings at the time, this was back nearly a month ago, early February. Surprisingly, the spirit of Armando came through. He wasn't happy at that time, and I felt like, he was cursing me out or whatever. And I spoke out loud. I was like, you know what? You can go to hell, for what you've done to Mimi. You were wrong, and I was, I stand on that, you know what I mean? I am with Mimi. Like I said, I've been connected with her for the past year. It's a difficult situation, I'm not gonna go against the grain on this, but it's just devastating to know. But I feel like the police, they have definitely not done their part. They didn't really do enough digging. The forensics didn't really do their part. And another thing that kind of stood out, since her body was badly decomposed, the thing that kind of confused me out of all of this was when she mentioned she was in the head. However, the forensics, they couldn't really determine the actual cause of death, even though in the report that has been said that she has been sexually assaulted, because they did some kind of DNA swabbing of Armando's genitals. They had later, I think, 4 days later or something, after the police or whatever interrogated Armando on the street regarding Mia's disappearance, he later hung himself in some kind of garage or something, at some apartment complex. And then, they did a DNA swabbing of his genitals. And I guess that obviously linked to Mia's DNA. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it was something also related to a unknown DNA substance from somebody else. So, does that mean it could potentially be Kenny? Who knows? But all I know is I'm very adamant about Kenny. He definitely had something to deal with the whole setup of Mia's death. He was definitely involved, 100%. And he covered up the story. As far as what I know, the case has been closed. As far as from further investigating, I don't know. It's a crazy situation, but all I know is they really need to dig more into it. The Arden Villa apartments are definitely accountable for this. The police, they definitely are accountable because they didn't really do their part. A lot of this could have been prevented when the parents, I believe it was the mother, obviously, she was the one that made the missing person case. She made the report. So I feel that, when the parents were trying to contact the management of Arden Villa apartments, they were not responsive, or they couldn't, get in touch with the staff in regards to the whereabouts. So that was a neglect in itself. But either way, I feel like both parties of the police department and the Arden Villa Apartments, they are both accountable, as well as Mr. Kenny Rodriguez Torres. I'm going to continue to put this out there. He has been involved 100%. I'm going to say it again. Kenny Rodriguez Torres has been involved with the death of Miya Marcano. He needs to be arrested. And they letting this dude get away scot-free because of his lies. He's lied to it's been in the report that they detected he made a lie, but since they couldn't find any kind of evidence based on the missing text, they can't prosecute him for anything. They need to do something about it. Yeah, that's just my thoughts on that. But at any rate, for Miya Marcano, I thank you for the connections, and I know I will still continue to connect with her and continue to burn this ancestor money for her. You just got to keep that momentum going so she can continue to live freely and happy in the light. That's what I would love for her. But I definitely want the justice for her for sure, because justice hasn't fully been served. Just because Armando decided to end his life and be like, hey, I'm gonna take the coward route and I'm not gonna say anything about it, or I don't want to go to jail for this whole situation. I'm just gonna end my life. It's gonna be a hush hush. My friend ain't gonna tell on me, but best believe spirit tells all, and that's what people need to learn. Spirit gonna tell it all. Trust and believe. And I stand on what I say, and I feel 100% my knowledge is 100% factual. I don't have any reason to fabricate any of this information based on my natural abilities, as I explained early on in this episode. So I really, really hope that this episode gets to some family member or a friend related to Miya Marcano, because the truth needs to be revealed to the light, for real, for real. It's just too crazy. It's too many people out here getting away with murder and they're not being held accountable. But the ultimate creator is going to be the final judge on that one. Believe that. So I'm going to end on this note. I thank you all for tuning in to Pretty Mess Podcast. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to continue on with future episodes. So the next one I'm going to put out is definitely going to be a crazy bombshell too. I'm not going to reveal what it is, but y'all stay tuned for that. And I'm signing off. Bye.